Well, we're taking a live look here at the loop of our satellite and radar over the last 6 hours. We did have a little bit of some storm activity that moved in and around the Memphis metro and in other mid-south regions here throughout last night. That has resulted in a little bit of some cloud cover and still some fairly humid conditions remaining in the region. You can't really see it too well here on this loop, but generally still overcast skies across most of the Memphis metro. Areas to the north looking a bit better, however, at this time, and that is going to be really the key feature of the forecast, the main story as we do go forward throughout the rest here of our Thursday, or Wednesday, I should say, because it looks like we have improvements in pretty much every single possible way for the forecast here from now through the end of the week at least, maybe even extending a little bit further beyond into this weekend. But the rain that did result here overall not amounting to too much. We did manage to avoid anything too strong or severe. Parts of Dyer County and then looking a bit north and east here along the Missouri boot heel and towards the Kentucky border were within a severe storm watch last night, but fortunately we did keep those off here just a little bit further away. The cold front that brought those storms to other sections up north and east towards the Ohio River Valley is in the process of sweeping on through the region, and that will result here in a bit of a split in terms of temperatures by later on this afternoon, as evidenced by the wind speeds already a little bit stronger here and more so out of the north to the north of the cold front. A more neutral, if not calmer, direction and speed of winds to the south. Temperatures likely to be just a little bit higher, still in the 90s in Mississippi, maybe only the 80s in a couple of spots here within the mid-south, within Tennessee and Arkansas. Memphis probably going to be about as far north as we'll end up seeing those 90-degree readings, but temperatures right now at 80 degrees, feels like 85. That is a lower heat index, or feels like reading, than about from an hour ago where we were feeling like 87 with a temperature reading of 80. So that is a sign here that we are looking at improvements already. This morning here is going to really feature a very sort of key sort of difference from yesterday, and that temperatures probably end up stagnating for a couple of hours, only rising a bit further as we head towards at least 10 to 11 a.m. and then peaking with temperatures just barely reaching 90 degrees by this afternoon. A far cry from yesterday where we were in the upper 90s, a heat index of 115 degrees or even higher seen in some locations. Nothing like that will be seen today. A heat index of at least around 90 is expected, no higher than 95, eliminating the triple digits, as right now, again, we have all of those similar conditions and starting sort of features of those readings from yesterday, but it will end up being much different. Temperatures that should actually be a little bit below average here in Memphis. 91 is just shy of the average high mark of 92, even though that 80-degree low reading is well above 74, the average low for this date. I don't think we are going to see any sort of real difference here between those temperatures by later this afternoon and what will be continuing over the next couple of days for that cooler pattern and the influence of the cold front. So a lot of noticeable sort of drop-offs from yesterday. 103, that record high in 1943. Nowhere will we be feeling like or reaching those temperatures here anytime soon, probably at least for the rest of the month. We are looking more like this here, temperatures in the lower 90s. A heat index that is present, but only at about 96 at most. That is going to feel almost sort of spring-like compared to yesterday, where we did have a feels like of over 100 degrees still past sunset in Memphis and in many locations. Today, as night falls, feeling like the mid-80s. So overall, a very nice seasonal day is ahead of us. 91, mostly sunny, a rain chance that at this time of the year is never quite zero, but at 10%, I do think it is going to be kept to about an absolute minimum, or at least as much as we can expect it to be. Northwesterly winds at 10 miles per hour continue, and they will be arriving a little bit later, those northwesterly winds, to parts of Mississippi. That is why the temperatures are probably all going to be above 90 in those spots, but still cooler than yesterday is the bottom line, drier than yesterday, and probably the driest 7-day forecast that I have seen all month long. Only a 30% risk on Saturday for some pop-up showers and storms seems to be the highest probability we have for any rainfall, and it's important to note here that even in the midst of this drier pattern, any sort of nearby systems such as Tropical Storm Bertha, only a few hundred miles here, as it is very close to the Gulf coastline of Mississippi, away a few hundred miles, I should say, from Memphis in the Mid-South region. It won't be close enough, though, to have any sort of impact on our forecast or our immediate weather patterns, as this is going to be moving due to the west here with all of that convection of rainfall centered still over the open Gulf of Mexico, with the rest of the region here that's in its crosshairs, coastal Louisiana, parts of the the Houston metro area in Texas, more likely to receive some impacts from some heavier rains, but nothing that extends far enough here, those few hundred miles, to where anywhere in the Mid-South would see some sort of impact. 72 for tonight, mostly clear skies here. Going to be one of the cooler nights we have that we have seen so far in the month of July. Maybe even a lot of us that are north of Memphis end up staying in the upper 60s for the first time in several weeks, or even cooler, I think, for Thursday, at least by a smidge, as many of us, I think, or many more of us will be in the upper 80s. Memphis just right around 90. And then we are starting to rebound temperatures as we head into the weekend, very slowly but surely. I think those rain chances look a little bit higher as we enter that mid-90s range on Saturday. Nothing strong or severe in the forecast, but a few more pop-up showers and storms that we'll just want to make sure we are keeping our radars handy for if we have any outdoor weekend plans. By the start of next week, the mid-90s and maybe the upper 90s return. I don't think the heat index is looking quite as impressive as from yesterday on Tuesday, but the triple digits for how we step outside and enjoy those feelings of the outdoors for that time frame may be something to watch for. But overall, this is probably the most easygoing 7-day period of forecasting that we've had so far this month. Low rain chances, relatively cool, nothing that is going to repeat the heat and oppressiveness of yesterday anytime soon.